sustainability and diversity are two major areas that the brands also look at. How does that impact PR strategy globally?
Well, okay, well, that's a great question, because as you know, there was a period of time, probably over a 5-year period where the pendulum swung very far in one direction, and that was in favor of sustainability and ESG and purpose. And now we've seen the pendulum swing actually in the other direction. And this is globally, right? It's different by market. In Europe, it may not have swung back quite as far. In the United States, it's swung back very far. And so right now, companies are in a very complex situation where they have to figure out how to navigate all of this trickiness, where many of their audiences are still pushing for what had been a much more progressive agenda in one direction, and then some of their audiences are pushing in the other direction. And so I think a lot of companies kind of feel caught in the middle.
One more important aspect that a brand looks at is the corporate affairs and the rising importance of reputation and risks. How has Weber Shandwick evolved since past many years? And what future do you look at that a strategy-wise agency like you can adopt?
So look, I think it's arguably harder to be a CEO than it's ever been. And the reason for that is because as a CEO, you have to do everything you always had to do, supply chain, capital allocation strategy, business performance, financial performance, all the rest. But then you also got to navigate all the increased volatility and complexity in the world. As a result of that, I think that the communications and corporate affairs operations arguably are more materially important than they've ever been, and in helping companies navigate this increased complexity at the intersection of business and society and politics, right? So for us, what we've done is we've built an entire new unit. We call it Weber Advisory. And that unit is designed to help CEOs and other C-suite leaders navigate this increased complexity at the intersection of business, society, and culture, and policy, and politics. And it's one of the faster growing parts of our business right now.
Is it the same situation in India that more and more brands are looking towards this offering? And what exactly are brands looking at for when they come to seek advice or consult with you as an agency?
Right. Well, so you see in today's world, look no further than what's happened with Tylenol in the United States recently, or even Bud Light a couple of years ago. There is greater challenge at the intersection of what brands and companies are doing and where culture rubs up against it, right? And I think what we've seen with the political environment increasingly charged is that things that in previous time periods might have been blips on the radar, they now turn into full-scale crises. And companies like ours and Weber Advisory, we're helping our clients navigate these crises day in and day out.
Right. Rightly, that you have mentioned that the crisis and everything differs from region to region. How does your strategy changes when you're in North America, Europe, and when it comes to APAC as a region?
Okay, well, that's a great question. So look, in North America, especially if you're talking about primarily the United States, the market is much less fragmented than it is, in, say, Europe or Asia, where you have a collection of a number of markets, right? And so what you need in the United States is a strategy that is typically much more singular versus multi-market. That's number one. Number two, and I think this is everywhere, you certainly need a strategy that is inclusive of both the traditional things like traditional media relations and social media, and increasingly now you add onto that influencer, you add onto that brand safety, and you take all of these things together, and you have something that you typically will have for almost all global clients and global campaigns, which is a consistent platform of work across all these areas to make sure that you can do everything that you need for your clients across all of them.
Right. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, many people have forecasted that there will be loss of jobs. And PR is something which people are looking at, the entire industry. How do you look at AI's role in the jobs that are being lost in the industry?
So look, I'm actually very excited about the impact of AI on our profession. I think that, as someone recently said to me, you're not going to be, people in our industry are not going to be replaced by AI. They could be replaced by someone who's better at using AI. And so the reality is people need to be good at using AI. For me, myself, for example, I worked with a team to build for me an entire personal AI system, right? And I use that system to save 1 to 2 hours a day to do things much more fast, to do things at greater scale with increased precision. And I'm now doing the same system that I built for myself for all of my leaders, and we're going to push it down throughout the entire organization. Because of course, having the most AI-enabled agency allows us to do the most AI-enabled work for our clients, and that's what they're looking for.
So can you give us a few examples of best cases where AI has been used and that has delivered better performance and results and ROI for your clients?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you 3 examples. First one, synthetic personas. So in today's world, you can use AI to build a synthetic version of the audience that you're trying to reach and then test scenarios against that audience. Whether that's someone that you're trying to market a product to, whether that's someone that you're trying to avoid risk with, that is a very, that is one of the most important use cases that we've seen with our clients. Second, we have built entire agentic risk management systems that allow you to both monitor for risk, predict risk, and then respond to risk, all entirely automated. This is something that never was possible as recent as 2 years ago, and we're doing it for some of the largest companies in the world. So those are 2 good examples. Also, a third example, culture. We can now track culture and then use the tracking of culture to inject our clients into culture. And getting into culture slipstream, if you're marketing, is essentially the name of the game these days, right?
Right. Talking about clients these days, we have seen a lot of attrition wherein multiple clients have changed their agencies, like they have more frequently. How do you look at this kind of relationship building wherein clients move from one agency to another agency more frequently?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that clients should go to the best agency. And so we certainly encourage a healthy competition.
But is it the same in India, or is it it differs worldwide?
I do think that everywhere right now, clients are evaluating all of their options with a degree of frequency that is significant. And so that probably means that in some instances, clients are maybe more willing to make change than they have been in the past. But I would encourage clients, always to, in today's world in particular, it's all about agility, right? Agility is the new stability, and resilience. And so I think that clients should always be looking to go with whoever the best is.
My last question to you, Jim, how much growth in revenue are we expecting from Weber Shandwick in the coming years, and what are the timelines, what are the growth measures that Weber Shandwick is looking at for a sustainable growth in the agency segment? Yeah.
Well, look, I think next year we're going to have a solid growth year. And in terms of how we measure, I'll even say results versus just growth. I mean, look, the most important thing is our clients, right? Our clients that we're keeping, our clients that we're winning, the satisfaction our clients have with us, the work we do for our clients, the awards that we win on behalf of our clients at places like the Cannes Lion International Festival of Creativity, like the work, the clients, that's how we measure our success. And then, of course, our people and the growth and development of our talent, and frankly, the AI enablement of our entire agency.
So looking at the coming year and the next decade, how do you perceive and project the growth of PR as an industry, and what changes are you foreseeing in the upcoming period?
Yeah, so I think in the next 5 years, we're going to see more change in our profession than we've seen in the previous 5 decades. And that's not driven entirely by AI, but a lot of it is by AI. And part of the reason for that, of course, is because, as BCG recently reported, 80% of the work that we do in communications is in the AI collaboration sweet spot, right? And that means that's where what humans do best, intuition, judgment, creativity, instinct, and what AI does best, speed, precision, and scale, that's where they meet, and it creates a force multiplying effect.